everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pat Contri. What is it called? Fun Times with Pat Contri Q&A. I did not name that. Here. We're at Too Many Games 2022. Welcome. Eastern Pennsylvania. Not my home state, but one over. How are we doing? Having fun so far today?
Yeah.
We find some deals out there? Killer deals?
You got it.
Shout out your deals all at once. What did you get? 1, 2, 3, go!
PS3.
I heard of Master System 2.
Sega Bass Fishing 2.
Oh, Sega Bass Fishing 2. Why were you talking when everyone else was talking? I couldn't hear you. I actually bought something yesterday. I found a TurboGrafx 3.0 system card. So that made me like, ooh. Who knows what that is? By show of hands. On the end, what is it?
That's for the CD system for PC Engine, because I talked to you right after you got it.
Yes, but it's for specific games.
It's for, isn't it for, shoot, it's for...
The Super CD games.
It's for...
The Super CD games.
Right.
It's for the arcade and Super CD games. So the 1.0 card came with the original TurboGrafx add-on unit. Then after that said, you know what, we want our games to be a little bit better. So they added on an extra like memory features and stuff like that. So in Japan there was actually the arcade card, I believe, which was the orangey one, and then there was the other one above that. There was super card and the arcade card. So there was like, but the 3.0 card in North America takes care of all of that. So that'd be if you bought the Turbo system and want to play those later CD games. If you got the Turbo Duo, it was all built into the system, all the extra RAM and everything. Do I have that right? Is Daniel in the room here? Do I have that right, Daniel? Thumbs up. Daniel's editing a certain N64 guidebook. Give it up to Daniel. He's also part of Moving Around Studios. We had a panel yesterday about vampires. About vampires.
Yeah.
Check it out. Hop in your time machine. It was great. Anyway, so today we're gonna keep this light and loosey goosey. I have giveaways for good questions or to make me laugh. I have the goat snack cakes, Drake cakes. Drake's cakes? Drake's cakes. We don't have them on the West Coast, so I come back here. My mom goes to the store and Mom, can we have some Drake's cakes? And I'm 4 years old, and so I get these, I get the yodels, I get the devil dogs, I get the OG coffee cakes. Come on. You don't know how good you have it. We don't have them on the West Coast. We have some tasty cakes and obviously Hostess. Those coffee cakes are good. So I got that, and I also have digital download codes for certain NES and Super Nintendo guidebooks. If anyone is interested in that, we'll see how it goes. So in terms of, I don't have a new video to show, but I can show an old video from a month ago. If you didn't see Flea Market Madness 46, by applause, who has not seen Flea Market Madness 46? Why do I come to these conventions? No one's watching my videos. So we can watch that if you want. Would you want to watch that for the panel? Can you change the enthusiasm for me?
Yeah.
Hey, we can do that. We can talk about my projects going on. We can talk about the N64 book and other things happening. 50th anniversary of my YouTube channels next year, Pat the NES Punk. Obviously, you're going to have questions about maybe the CU podcast, a certain console that's turned into a scam, and whatever else that's going on. So yeah, you want me to talk about the book first, or Q&A? Talk about the book first. Put the TV on. And give it up to Rick. Rick for helping out today. Okay. So there's a few different cover samples. They're not finalized, but they're getting there. So which one is which here? Cover sample. That's the cover. So this is just what it's going to look like. This will be the book will be for pre-sale. There it is. Oh yeah, greenish. The book will be for pre-sale later this year, and also on Kickstarter. I get more money if you buy from my website store. And then it'll come out next year. Originally I wanted it out this year, but stuff happens, personal stuff, hit some snags on the project timeline with things. But it'll come out. It's every game released. First book is going to be North America, European exclusives, and Japanese exclusives. That's about 400 games, including the 10 or so DD titles. The DD disc add-on system came out in Japan. It's going to have an article about unreleased games, similar to the SNES book hardware, special cards, even though on N64 there's not a lot of special cards, there's only like a few really. There's only one bootleg that we found that we know about, which was a South American soccer game. That's a bootleg of a Konami one. It escapes me. I should know this, I don't. So,
Ronaldinho.
what's that?
Ronaldinho.
Yes, thank you. That wasn't the editor of the book. Basically, they basically hacked a Konami game, put in their own play-by-play in Portuguese, and then put Ronaldinho on the cover. There's like 3 or 4. I mean, the prints on these. We found some labels online. They were printing them off like inside a house somewhere and just bootlegging them out. The quality was terrible on them. So there's a couple other. There was an N64 test card as well, which I've seen personally one time, and a couple other little weird things. So yeah, it's been a labor of love. It's been a lot. So that'll be out next year. So that's the first cover, and then there's going to be like the last 2. There will also be the chrome cover. Now this one is not final, but it's chromish. So that'll be like the special edition one. I'm not sure it'll be green. It might be something else, but the NES and Super Nintendo had its own cover like that. So that's going to be the chrome version, if you like chrome. And then we're going to do a super special cover that, I hate to say it, I'm going to pat myself on the back. Get it? Pat myself on the back. I thought of this idea like 3-4 months ago. So N64 cube, the logo cube, but look like game screenshots on each side with different color. I think that's pretty snazzy. So that'll be like this, like the super limited version will be that. But of course, the inside pages will be exactly the same. It's not like a DLC thing, you know. So here's the GameStop version. Here's the Target version of the game. They still do that anymore. They stopped doing that. Remember they did that with games like 10 years ago. They don't do that anymore.
Not really.
Yeah. L.A. Noire, the last new game I bought, basically before the Switch. I've always been that up. They had like 4 different versions. They had a Target version, a Walmart version, a GameStop version. They all had different DLC packs back then. They're all out now. I think you rebuy it on the Switch.
Like Sonic Origins, just have a different screenshot for each version.
Oh, really? But Sega's gonna Sega. So anyway, so I like that cover a lot. I'll probably only do like definitely less than like 500 of those I'll do, and then we'll decide on the price later because with the inflation, shipping costs, they keep going up. It's not gonna be $1,000 the book, but you know, it'll be a little bit. So there you go. So you like that? Which one you like the best? You like that? You like the? Oh, that's Tommy Talrico. I was going to talk about this in a bit. I was going to talk about that in a bit. We're not going to watch that 50-minute video he did about me, but if you're like, oh, I should watch it. But anyway, so these are the covers here. Or you just go for the regular one, the cute green one. So you have green, red, and blue, RGB. No, wait a minute. There's no red. Which one's red? The special edition NES one's red, it's blue. Purple Super Nintendo. I should have thought that through. I should have did a red NES one, normal edition. Anyway. So yeah, you got any questions about anything or what's going on? Or I can probably hear you. There's a mic here, but like, you know, this isn't a stadium, but in the back.
Yeah, how come he doesn't come to these with you anymore?
He comes to some of them. You know, sometimes the panel organizers, you know, they have a budget. That plays part of the time. So he has work. But he'll be at a future one. Is it okay if I talk about Rick, a future convention? Is that like, he'll be at one in a couple months on Long Island. He'll be there. He'll probably be at the PRGE in October. He'll be there. I do get asked that a lot about that. But he loves you all. He sends his regards.
Good.
Am I getting a good tape right now? Hold on. In the back.
Pat, now that you did N64, what's next? Do you go handheld or do you go disc-based versus cards?
I take a nap. I relax. I maybe go on vacation. We'll see if there's a 4th book. These books take literal years to do each. The first book took almost 3 years. The second book took 2 to 2.5. This one's going to end up being 2.5 years as well, when all said and done. So it's a lot of work, and each one takes a bit of my soul in the process. So we'll see. If there's another book, it would probably either be GameCube or Game Boy Black and White, I would think. That would make the most sense to stick with Nintendo. Like all the cartridge consoles are now done for Nintendo. No one counts Virtual Boy. It's a cartridge. No one cares. So someone said I do. Oh, Jerry Parrish has a book. I believe it's out. Is that out, Daniel?
Don't know, actually.
Yeah.
Daniel, you know everything. Come
Not
on.
that.
You're my eyes and ears out there.
Let's see.
Yes.
This is a two-part question, if you don't mind.
Oh, I mind a two-part question. That's in the post.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, your first question, what, in your opinion, what do you qualify as an unfinished game?
What do I qualify as an unfinished game?
Yeah,
You mean like one that's actually been released or one that's,
actually released, like,
I guess if it's a broken game, if you can't, like, if too many glitches, you can't really finish it?
I would agree with that.
Or if it's,
Because-
there's like a bug that just, like,
Because, second, long story short, a lot of people in the Nintendo fandom are like getting annoyed with Nintendo's business practice of releasing a game with small amount of content and then do like a free update, and some of those people call it an unfinished game, which in my personal opinion, I highly disagree. In
games
my-
as a service.
Yeah. I would say they're lackluster games, and I think if they were priced like lower than like $40, I think that might have been like the worst price, but they're not unfinished games. I think that term is highly used because people like, not to disrespect some of the people in the YouTube community, Lonely Goomba, Uncle Al, what was that guy's name? Nathan Bradley?
We're not disrespecting the people you're naming,
No.
so just making sure we're getting that clear, okay.
I just wish they will stop using that term when it comes to that. Like, in actual unfinished games, it's the first release of No Man's Sky and Fallout 76. It's like, if you've seen those videos, but like what the Internet Historian video, and you can see how broken those games are. Like,
Yeah, we're at the age now, and thanks for that. We're at the age now where, obviously with digital distribution taking over, that allows creators to figure out, oh, hey, this game made a lot of money. I can keep this going and get sales off this game for years to come. So why not do DLC? Why not do expansions? I don't see that as a bad thing necessarily. Otherwise, I mean, if you didn't have DLC, like the Animal Crossing experience would not be what it is now. Obviously, they can keep that game running forever if they want to, if they kind of wants to. And then I think stuff like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe releasing these like future, like the first one's out, right? The first one, the new one's out, the booster pack. This is amazing to me because that's a perfect game to me. Like they will not improve upon that game if they do Mario Kart 9, in my opinion. So why not just come out with track packs every few years and charge a bit? I wouldn't have a problem with that. Maybe some people would, but I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
On the preservation side, it would be weird just because, like going back to, the Wii Mario Kart, those servers were turned off within like 7-8 years after the game came out.
Yep.
So it is kind of discouraging, but this is the reality. It's not going to go back. We can't go back in time. We're not be blowing on cartridges again. That's not going to be happening. You want a digital code book for a game? Your choice. Any of us are $10. There you go. If you make me laugh, you won't let me get a snack cake. If you want a snack cake. All right. Next question.
I was wondering, with you working on the N64 book now, what was the probably least favorite either in you had to sit there and play a really terrible game, or it was just hard to play through it like broken parts?
Carmageddon 64.
Was it that it ran too smoothly for you?
Carmageddon 64, and I love the original Carmageddon. I actually bought both for the PC. Carmageddon, I think Carmageddon, Carpocalypse Now, was that the term name? Carpocalypse Now, the sequel. So the 64 version is based upon the sequel, where it's all polygons, there's no more sprites or anything. And the game is so insanely long. Not just that, there's these insane timed levels where you have to jump off buildings and land on a precarious top of another building. And they'd be tough if the controls were good and solid. And the controls are a little iffy. And there are different cars you can get and acquire when you demolish your opponents, but it's rough. And there's one in particular, there's this wacky course level with stunts where you have to complete all the stunts and get these objects in a certain amount of time. And even with like, yes, I use save states on this game, or else I would not have beaten it. It took me like an hour with save states to beat, like, it's supposed to be like an 8-minute level maximum. It was, I couldn't imagine beating it, but, like on an N64 controller back in the day. And I use an N64 controller when I played all these games reviewing it, but like, it was nuts. It was nuts.
Have you played the new one that came out, like compared to like the PC one? Because I know that was somewhat broken when it first came out.
There's a new Carmageddon? I didn't know
Well,
that.
they remastered the original one.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. No. No. Makes me a little happy, I guess.
What was a game for N64 that you were really surprised by when you were doing your reviews?
I reviewed 21, which is like, what is that? Pat me at 6.2% of the library, something like that. Something like that. Sin and Punishment was really good. It was Japanese exclusive, and then obviously one came out on the Wii, right? And then they did a third one, and that's third person fixed shooter with some melee attacks, and it was the story was really goofy, but it was surprisingly it was done in English, and then it was captioned in Japanese, so you could play it easily, and that was a good game, really good game. I had no experience with that series before that. And of course, Disney DDR was a blast to play with the pad. And yes, I imported the pad to play.
Oh, wow. How much was that?
It was only like $80. Something like that. See how much I sacrificed? This is why it may not be in the book. So I'm sweating in my room, dancing to MICKEYMOUSE. Yes?
I know that you've said that you might not continue the Flea Market Madness series. Over here, I have a very hard time finding anything at all. Like, there's not even games around. I've seen other YouTubers who portray at least that they have luck out in California. Is that just not the case where you're at?
I think you'd have to like go out multiple times in order to piece together that sort of video.
Okay.
Like 95% of my Flea Market Madness videos is one time to the flea market, not pieced together.
Sure.
I think there's like 2 episodes where I shot a short amount of time and I pieced those together, but or maybe Frank wasn't there 1 week, so I get one of those breaks, you gotta throw them in an episode. But like almost all of them are like that Sunday or Saturday I went and that's what I found. That's why to me it was so special. It was like, it's not that anyone's faking anything, but it's not the way it used to be. It's very, the last 3 times I went to the swap meets last week, I don't know if I spent more than $30. One time I spent like 10 buying like antibacterial, or a hat, a new hat. It's bad.
Yeah.
You want a yodel or a funny bone in solidarity? Pour one out for the death of the flea markets.
Yeah, I don't know what either of those are.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm from Reading, like right down the road. I like Tasty Cake.
Yeah,
It's my
Tasty
favorite.
You don't have Drake's at stores around here?
I'm sure we do, but I'm pretty brand specific. I'll go with the butterscotch crimpets. You know?
Okay, you're talking yourself out of this, but I do respect it. Should we let him try the magical Drake's cake?
Sure.
Which one should he try? Yodel or funny bone? Okay, I'm all right, this has some heft to it. Watch out in the rows.
Nice.
Drake's follows me on Twitter. They sent me a shirt one time. Yes.
So, considering how many games you've researched in all your books, have you had a time where it was like hard to get your hands on the game to do the research?
Yeah, because we're not buying all the physical ones. We are playing on emulators, otherwise it'd be impossible. It just wouldn't be. It wouldn't make economical sense to be, okay, we gotta buy all 800 Super Nintendo games to do the book. It's like, we're all 400. I mean, I have almost all the hard-to-find N64 games, but not the Japanese ones. By the way, there's a lot of Japanese N64 games out here. Last rows, there was a lot. I wish I knew that before, because we're making the CG models, and it's hard to find really good labels sources for some of those. There's some good scams. There are scams online, Nico, but there's some good scans online. But a lot of times, just looking on eBay or online, still, oh, there's a good looking label. We'll take that label off there. Or, oh yeah, what was I saying? I forgot. I'm tired. But no, we weren't buying every single. Besides, like the one-off things like the DDR. Matt, because that's how you have to play it. Well, you don't have to, but I wanted the authentic experience because again, I suffer for these books, so You want a digital download card?
Ah, sure.
Which one you want? NES? Yeah. Yeah. I'll toss it. Like Gambit. Ready? Oh, that was. I'm sorry. How do those people flick
That
the
was a Bailey
cards?
sauce.
And like,
That was pretty
they
good.
cut like watermelons with them and stuff. You ever see that? It's nuts. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite flea market find?
Do I have a favorite flea market find? Oh, that's a tough one. Man, early on, this was not a Flea Market Madness episode. I found a really good, probably 2010 or 11, a shoebox and a half of G.I. Joe figures. And we're talking like early to mid 80s ones, like the prime G.I. Joe. Yo, Joe, anyone see the 35th movie anniversary?
It's at Rico right now.
What an awful job fathoming that stuff. Did yours start on time? Mine didn't. Mine cut out the first minute of the intro.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it
Did you
was,
get anything? Like
what's
a
that?
a card or a poster or anything? Because they didn't give us anything.
There was nothing. There was nothing. Was there like even, did someone intro the movie when you saw it or no?
It was, well, they had like a 2-minute thing of Duke and Roadblock talking about some of the characters.
That's it? That's all they had for it? So I missed that. It started 5 minutes late then. And the audio mix was awful. It wasn't surround sound where I was. It was barely audible, some of it. Was yours like a weak sound as well?
I thought it was fine, but it felt like a VHS.
It was a DVD. I think literally they like pressed play on the DVD, like not even the Blu-ray. Anyway, so I found a bunch of G.I. Joe figures, and they had most of the weapons. They were in good shape. And 10 years ago, G.I. Joe figures weren't worth anything. Only really Star Wars figures were, and then even He-Man really weren't worth that much. Now those G.I. Joes are worth a lot of money. And so I love G.I. Joe's, my all-time favorite cartoon, all-time favorite toy, and so that was like one of the best finds. Not the most expensive stuff, but like it was a lot of stuff. So.
With the movement of video game movies coming out, what would you like to see be made?
What video game would I want to be made into a movie? I don't know, Ian hates when I say I want to see a Legend of Zelda movie with Lord of the Ring, budget. Give me a 3-hour, Legend of Zelda movie based on the first game. I think you can do that. He's like, I don't want to hear Link talk. Okay, you gotta get over it at some point. It's only 2:20. You want a download code?
Sure.
Take an NES one. They're not laminated, like the freaking ones are. Do you have either book? Do you own either book? Oh, okay, well, now you don't have to buy it. You can just read it visually. Are you offering? No, I didn't go to Friendlies yet.
Okay.
Friendlies will be tonight. Friendlies will be tonight.
Hey, what's I missed a podcast or something like that. What's Ian's day job? He switched jobs?
Ian has not disclosed his day
No, he
job.
didn't? Okay.
He's dropped minor hints, but he said he wants to wait for that.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna call and ask. Hey, guys, tell this guy wants to know where you work.
This is unrelated to video games, but bonus round in the Kumite. A certain Intellivision president versus Kevin from your past.
Kevin from my past versus Tommy Tallarico in a Bloodsport Kumite? Well, they're both pretty short. I remember Kevin being short. Well, that's a tough one. I don't want to see if someone wants to be a fighter or not.
You can make that into a movie.
Make that into a movie? So speaking of that, the reason I had this video here is because we never publicly addressed this video that Tommy Tallarico made.
Hey, I wanted to make a quick video response.
Quick, meaning 50 minutes. 50 minutes. I was going to play the first minute. This is how it would be if we went through this. This might be a Patreon exclusive. We'll might do this.
Today to Kat and Ian over at the CU podcast.
He pretends to not know who we are when I've met him like multiple times before this. He was in video game years. He's met Ian.
And yeah, first I want to say that I have this video unlisted, so.
It was unlisted, yet he tweeted it publicly out, so everyone saw it. People were asking us to respond about it at the time. So this came out in, this video came out in late 19, early 20, I think it was like late 19. And when this video came out, shout out to Tommy's $50,000 watch, by the way. When this video came out, this was the moment in time where I said to myself, this console is not coming out, like, or it's going to be a failure. Because you cannot have someone like this, a CEO of a company that's in charge of dozens of employees and in charge of millions of dollars, to be this thin-skinned and petty to respond to two dumb podcasters. 50 minutes, and this is with edits. So which means you probably record for like 2 hours and then edit it together. The TLDR, I have not watched it all the way through. I wanted to be fresh, but I did scan some. And multiple times in this video, this is edited. He says, I'm not upset at you guys. I'm not angry, when he obviously is, because he says it 8 times during the video. So at some point, we'll probably go through this, Ian and I, maybe when we retire the podcast, because it's nuts, and this got re-uploaded in the last few months. We always knew about it, obviously. I always have my hard drive just in case, obviously. But we wanted to have it fresh for people. We never addressed that time. Did anyone here know about this video? Ever hear about it? A couple people did?
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, so it's just, it's nuts that a CEO of a company, ex-CEO did this.
It's proof to you that he can put effort into something.
Proof that he can put effort into something, hear himself talk, yes. That was never, in question. Anyway, I just think it's funny. Yes?
Do you think he's met Mike Kennedy?
You think he's met Mike Kennedy? Yes. He stood up for Mike Kennedy. In an interview, he said, oh, Mike Kennedy wasn't that bad a guy, he was well-meaning. And I was like, okay. Well-meaning, the shovel comes to the back of my head when you're trying to do your gardening work. I mean, I guess this result's the same. Let's spin up that analogy or metaphor. Daniel, is that a metaphor or analogy? You're an editor. It's a metaphor.
Vaguely.
Vaguely, thank you. Yeah, so what happened was, remember the Gen 2 in television? It was an Indiegogo Kickstarter point, 2014. They tried to do remasters of 3 games: Shark, Night Stalker, and Astro Smash, which were in theory going to be remade for the television Amico. So that failed miserably. We covered this in the podcast. That's when Keith Robinson was still alive, rest in peace. Keith Robinson worked originally on television as a programmer. He took over the IP for a couple of decades. We knew it was going to be a failure then, but Tommy knew about it then. I think he got a weird idea at that point. What if I put out these low-level remakes of games that almost no one wants, but charge a lot for hardware when it's not needed? I think so happens. Fare thee well, Tommy. Fare thee well. Any other questions or anything? Yeah.
Are you doing 4th of July with Frank this year?
Am I doing 4th of July with Frank? Yes. We're going to be barbecuing burgers and dogs with Frank.
Let's go.
Let's go. You want to show up?
Oh, I wish. I'm a Connecticuter, so
okay.
I'm up in the nutmeg state. So.
It's the nutmeg state?
Sadly. Or the Constitution state, it depends.
Which one is it really? The Constitution state or nutmeg?
That's also the insurance capital of the world.
Yes, that's what Hartford is, right?
Yes.
You go to Hartford downtown, it's all these big insurance buildings. Man.
Speaking of Frank, I don't know if you guys ever covered this, but since you're possibly ending the Flea Market Madness, have you thought about possibly doing like a cooking thing with him, like some type of other spin-off?
A cooking show with Frank? Yeah. Would Frank just like walk around the kitchen, hey guys, let's make some sauce today. You got your meat, sausage, let's go. Like laid back sort of thing?
Like a once a month, like a bar, like you do the July 4th, like you guys could start off with July 4th and get the idea out. Or
just like a one-shot thing, or just you walk it through. We'll see. That'd be interesting. That would be. You want some chicken cacciatore? Need some tacos? I'd call Frank, but he's vacationing right now.
I had a second question.
Oh, you did?
So speaking on the N64 earlier, with them making all the mini consoles and stuff, would there be any, what is it, like 15 to 20 games they usually put on them or so? Like the mini
They put, 30 on the Super, no, you put 21 on the Super Nintendo, they put 30 on the NES?
If you had to have like any specific N64 game on there or anything like that, what games would you say like top 5 probably, if they put it?
You asked me to do my top 5 N64 games? Okay. You gotta have Mario 64. You gotta have probably Mario Kart. You have to have GoldenEye. You have to have Banjo, the first one I would guess. Wow, 2 rare games. Oh, God, it's tough to narrow down to 5. What would be the 5th one? Ocarina. That'd probably be the 5 you probably do, right? Is that like probably the list? That's like what most people had, you know? That's tough. That'd be tough, but the emulation's horrible on the N64. That's why we haven't gotten a mini. That's why we can't even do it well on the Switch Online service, supposedly. There's still issues. And then they don't have the rights to the rare games, obviously. So it'd be tough to get that since that's a
I was gonna say, what
Microsoft.
could they even really put on, because they already have problems with other games.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to re-release GoldenEye, I heard. They're trying something with the original, but it's so complicated, the rights, that's just tough. That's why you haven't seen, you only saw like that Wii GoldenEye, which was just in name only. It was not a remake, the one with Daniel Craig. Remember that in the Wii? Yeah. Am I making that up? I'm not gonna feed your dream. You want a yodel?
Yeah.
Did you get a download code? Or, what do you want, a yodel or a book?
I guess a book.
Good choice. It's like, he thought about it. Oh, man, snack cake?
I've had so many yodels in my life, I'd grab another one, but I'll probably grab stock.
Snack cake or literature? That was the choice. Nintendo or NES? Yeah, go old school. Oh, okay. Right, you don't have to buy it. There you go. I'm out of the money. There you go. You want to watch a Flea Market Madness?
Yeah.
Woo!